So I actually have never been a big gamer. I love video games. I've always loved video games, but I was never really a big gamer in the sense that I enjoyed watching gameplays more than I enjoyed playing games. Um, Actually, I was never really good at playing games, if I'm being honest. But I really enjoyed watching gameplays. Like as a kid, I'll go to the arcade store just to watch other kids playing games. My main interest was the art, the animation, the character designs, you know, and the actual gameplay itself. I just loved it. I loved all of it. But I've never been a player myself, really. Mostly because I was always scared of competition. Because as a kid, the arcade store was just very, very competitive, and the popular games were the fighting games. So if you're gonna play, chances are there's going to be challenges, kids competing, kids laughing at each other, you know. You get clowned quite a bit when you get knocked out. So I was always afraid that I just never liked competing. It's actually one of the main reasons I'm not into sports. I'm not a sports guy, actually. But yeah, other than that, I loved video games. Always loved it. The first video game that my first video game experience was probably Street Fighter 2. Yeah, Street Fighter 2. When my cousin took me to the arcade store for the first time, I remember that day. I was blown away by what I saw. It was amazing, and I knew as a kid right there that I want that to be a part of my life in some way, And of course, for me, that meant drawing. That meant drawing the video game characters. But yeah, Street Fighter 2 was my first intro to video games. And yeah, I just loved being there watching all the kids play these video games. So like I said, it was mostly fighting games. And my favorite fighting game that I used to love more than anything, actually it's still my favorite fighting game to this day. It was a game called, actually I'm lying, that's not my favorite video game today, but my favorite video game back then was a game called The Art of Fighting. And yeah, that game was so popular in my neighborhood. It was so popular. And the characters were so cool, man. And my favorite character, I remember in the game, my favorite character was a character named Jin. Jin Fuha, I think that's his last name. And I loved that character so much that my friends actually nicknamed me Jin. I was called Jin throughout my entire childhood. Actually, a lot of people actually who didn't know me thought that was my name. Yeah, some of them still call me Jin to this day. Yeah, I love that game. It was really cool. And after that, a few years passes, and then I get introduced to the King of Fighters 95, which is my favorite fighting game ever to this day. The King of Fighters is my favorite fighting game. Really, really cool. Really cool. My favorite character in that game was Takuma. I love playing Takuma. So yeah, at that time I started getting a little bit confident playing, but not playing with other people, just playing against the AI. But yeah, video games, always been a fan of video games. Not so much a player, but just a fan. Just a fan of the art of it, the creativity in these games. But yeah, as I remember when I went to varsity, and the programming was one of my majors. I really got into game programming, and I was creating little games in my spare time. And I loved it so much. In fact, I actually even considered making video games because I love to draw and I know how to program. So it just seemed like a no-brainer. However, I kind of lost interest in that long ago, because whenever I would start like a game project that I want to create, I found myself just spending more time on the art side of it, just doing a lot of design, drawing designs, and when it came to the programming, I like to program. It's actually part of what I do for my work, but when it comes to my hobbies, I just want to draw, So yeah, that died away quickly, but I still loved video games. In fact, my favorite, or rather my first big game that I played on a console was Darksider 2, which is my favorite video game ever. To this day, Darksider 2 is my favorite video game. Love everything about that game. The art, the story, the puzzles. It's got a lot of puzzles. It's one of those games that the puzzles will keep you busy for quite a bit of time, and the gameplay itself is amazing. I'm a big fan of hack and slash. I'm not really into games like racing games. I'm not into racing games. I'm not into like sports games. Strategy games, not my thing. I just want, if you want me to play a video game, really just give me an axe and a horse, or give me a sword. I just want to go around hacking and slashing stuff. Games like Souls, Devil May Cry, and Darksiders, those are my type of games. But yeah, Darksiders 2 is the one for me. I still play that game to this day. To this day, I still go back to it and play it. That's how much I love it. It's really good. And another reason, one of the main reasons I love the game is because of the art style in the game. The guy behind the art style of that game is an artist called Joe Madureira, or Joe Mad, as he's well known as. Joe Mad is one of my favorite artists. His style is so cool. I believe he started as a comic book artist, and Joe Mad's art is amazing. It's amazing. So Darksiders, like the signature art is all Joe Mad. You can tell. I mean, there were a lot of artists who contributed to that game, but the art style, I believe the artists involved, they just had to create the designs in an art style similar to Joe Mad, because Joe Mad is the one who actually is the designer behind the look of the game. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his artwork. And the comic books he worked on. I will admit that the comic book that Joe Mad worked on, I'm not a very big fan of the stories. I'm talking about the comic books that he was involved in with Marvel. I just love the art in those comics, but the story is just okay for me. I think my favorite Marvel comic book that he worked on is a comic called Inhumans. Oh, the art in that book is amazing. It's amazing. But this is pretty well known. He did kind of venture on his own a bit to create his own comic called Battle Chasers, which is probably his best comic book. I would argue, like, the art in Battle Chasers is so good. It actually ended in a hiatus because he left the world of comic books when he got into video games, because the first video game, I don't even know if it's the first video game he worked on, but I do know that he He's one of the founders. I don't know if founders is the right word, but he's one of the creators behind the Darksider series, like the first Darksiders and the second one. I don't think he worked on the third one. Not really sure. I don't think so. I think he designed the main character of the third Darksiders, Fury. That's his design. That I do know, but I don't think he was like involved in a big way on the third video game. But the first one and the second one, he's heavily involved. And I think he's the one who came up with the concept of the game, or rather the idea of what the game was going to be about. There's this idea of the four horsemen. I believe that was his idea. But yeah, man, this guy's work is just so good. It's so good. And it has influenced quite a lot of people. Like, I see a lot of art today that has some semblance of Joe Matt's art. And that's something that I also want to incorporate into my own art as well. As you can see in these illustrations that I'm working on today, I'm doing a Joe Matt's art study. I want to, understand the way he builds these shapes that he has in his designs, like this very big, high energy, very visceral type of characters. His art is really cool, and he's one of the greatest. So yeah, Darksiders 2, my favorite video game, and Joe Matt, one of my favorites. So yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for sticking around, watching my video, and yeah, catch you on the next one. Cheers.